Welcome to today's segment of Generation Gap, the YouTube series. Today we will be discussing college affordability in Pennsylvania and here at IUP. I'm interviewing a woman by the name of Suzanne Piccanati. Let's see what she has to say. All right, welcome to the first episode of the YouTube segment of Generation Gap. Today our topic is college affordability, and we'll be talking with Suzanne Piccanati. She's a sophomore here at the Indiana University of IUP. Introduce yourself a little bit, Tyler.
Hi, I'm Susie, like he said. I'm a future educator, and I will be teaching secondary English education in the future. So this is personally very important to me as someone who believes that education is essential to our success in the nation today in a way that it wasn't maybe like 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So I'm hoping to be a part of this plan, this Degrees Not Debt campaign, in order to make this possible. But
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay. So I know we want to, I'm sure as a nation of students, we want to
Yes.
increase college affordability across the nation.
Yeah.
But everything starts somewhere. Everything starts small
Yeah.
before it becomes big because everything has to trickle down.
Yeah.
So rather than discussing how to increase or better college affordability in the United States, let's at least discuss how we can do it here at our school.
Yeah.
You say there's a degree.
Degrees Not Debt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go into depth about that.
With Degrees Not Debt, we are advocating for the Higher Education Act, and we do petitions, photo petitions. We're going to do a teach-in, and we've actually taught in classrooms. We've gone and spoken to students about what it is and like why we should be concerned about it, because the elected officials are the people that can make these changes, and we as students can urge them along and show that we're passionate and that we care about these issues. So, for example, we could have them state more Pell Grants and things like that would be available year-round for students to access. We could have more affordable student loans and stuff like that would be moving towards that more affordable education.
Okay. So what is your role in the organization as a parent?
I personally work with media, so I would be working with doing things like this, working on Twitter and Facebook and things like that, going into classrooms and speaking to students about what it is and why they should care, and having them sign petitions.
So what are some of the responses you get from students when you ask them why they should care about college affordability? Do you get mixed responses, or are they?
Usually they're pretty excited about it. They're like, yeah, like I totally want this to cost less, because I mean, I've personally known people that have had to drop out of school just because they couldn't pay for it anymore. So most students are very excited. Usually, I would say like 1 out of 30 kids is just kind of like, but usually I get very excited responses about why we should be doing this.
Okay. So you personally, would you say that college is affordable for you, or are you doing this more for yourself and for everyone else?
I would say that I'm doing it for everyone, because I personally can afford college only because I have a lot of scholarships.
Okay.
And I know that's not something that's accessible to everyone. I know that's difficult. Like maybe for my specific major and what I'm doing, like that's fine, but that's not going to happen for every student. Every student isn't going to have their education covered by scholarships. And there's so many people that are talented but maybe don't have access to these things, or weren't given the resources, and they need those. And even people that already have debt, they need information on how to manage their loans and how to in the future like deal with that debt. They have the right to information.
Of course. Actually, I've read that the national percentage of undergraduates and graduates with debt, 71% for people pursuing a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
Here at IUP, it's a little bit more than that, right?
Yeah, it's 79%.
79. And why do you think it's so much higher than the national average here?
It's actually just higher in PA in general. The tuition is higher. So I would say that's probably why it's just the state itself has higher tuition to pay. So your loans end up costing more, which causes more debt.
So you say that you you talk with many students each day
Yes.
as a part of your role as a PR
Yes.
for the organization. Do are people scared? Are students afraid of graduating because of that debt?
I don't know if they're afraid of graduating, but I think they're afraid of the debt. Yes. I think that there is a desire to get jobs quickly, and sometimes an anxiety around that desire for employment, because obviously not every student is going to be employed right out of college. We are cognizant of that fact, but as students we have to at least like push for that, to be constantly aware that we need to get jobs and then pay off our loans. But maybe you can't get a job right away. Like, how are you going to pay off those loans? We get information on how to help with that. Are there stipulations? Can we have loans forgiven? Can we have loan payments that would help us based on income, maybe, if you can't get a job right out of college?
Right. It was seen that affording college would be something that the nation should take precedent of.
Yes.
It should be a priority.
Yes.
But for some reason, that's something that politicians are having difficulty agreeing on.
Yeah.
Whether college should be free, whether it should be less, whether it should be more. Why do you think where do you think that the disagreement comes in at? What are the downsides of college affordability?
I think that there is this generational gap for some reason, that the older generation believes that because they could work a summer job and pay for their tuition, that somehow we could also do that, but it's just absolutely not possible. I could not pay for my college with my waitressing tips from over the summer. Right. And there's kind of the White House put out a statement for the Student Aid Bill of Rights, which is basically just illustrating what higher education affordability would look like. But we know that that's not something we can reach right now. We have to work towards it with things like Degrees Not Debt, with things like the Higher Education Act that would eventually lead to us getting to the higher education affordability for all students. So I don't really think there's downsides to students being able to afford education, in the sense that students need education in order to succeed in our country today. But there's downsides in the way that sometimes, usually, older generations perceive the idea of making things cheaper and sort of calling students entitled, maybe.
Right. You touched on something. The older generation feels as though we should be able to afford college how they did. The problem with that is that as inflation increases, college tuition also increases. So we're paying more, even if the price of college were to stay the same for the next 10 years, the value of the dollar will continue to go down.
Absolutely.
It's been 10 years since inflation, college tuition was adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
So we've been paying more and more and more, even though the number has been staying relatively the same.
Yes.
So that might be something that the older generation has difficulty understanding.
There needs to be more education. There needs to be more information just available in general. Because if the politicians, if elected officials aren't talking about it, we need to talk about it, which is why Degrees Not Debt is so important, because the students need to be able to advocate for themselves in order to get to the point where elected officials can advocate for us and take responsibility and accountability for what's happening in our nation right now.
Okay. Are there any officials on this campus where you're trying to get the attention of?
We're really trying to push to get the attention of the president right now. We have about 750 signed petitions, and I'm not positive how many photo petitions and things like that we have, but we want to bring those to his attention and be like, this is what our plan is, this is what we're advocating for, to have him back our plan, and maybe push for Harrisburg.
Okay, push for Harrisburg?
Yes. We actually already wrote letters to the editor.
Really?
But that didn't go as well.
So what happened with that?
We wrote a bunch of letters, but none of them got published on. It's sad, but we will try again.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming in to talk to us today, Suzanne.
Thank you.
really shed a lot of light on the issue at hand. College affordability is something really, I feel like it's going to be a fight that we'll be having at least for the next few years, if not more than that.
As a future educator, I completely understand what you're saying.
But once again, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That was a great discussion with Suzanne Piccinati. She covered a lot of different aspects of college affordability. Now, I want to thank all the viewers for tuning in today. And I hope you tune in for the next episode and the next after that. So I just want to wish you all a nice day. And I'll see you later.